as a consumer, I like the fact that I can watch what I want to watch when I can watch it. I don't mind as a consumer. I can come into my screening room and watch, Wonder Woman, or watch, whatever the new HBO Max offering is that's available at home now. Like, I don't mind that as a consumer, right? As a producer, it means that I got to be malleable. It means I got to be quick and I got to be able to adjust my game.
You go from obviously selling, not phone books, but delivering newspapers, to being this big mega producer that you are right now. Tell me the first time you felt like you were famous.
Oh, I'll tell you, you know what it was? So I made this movie called Toi, and anywhere I would go, I was trying to like either make myself relevant in a conversation or get into a particular place. I would say, hey, you ever see that movie Toi? And they'd be like, yeah, I saw that, because it was a small cult classic back then. So in certain rooms, I could drop Toi and people would be like, oh yeah, right? Then I hated being the Toi guy, because I was just the Toi guy for like 5 years, because that was the biggest thing I had done, right? I did other stuff. I did a movie called The Gospel, which happened to be Idris Elba's first movie after The Wire. But it didn't hit the same way Toi did, because Gospel was about church-going, morally right Christian values. So and
now I feel bad that I've never seen Gospel, but I've seen two Tois.
Neither did a lot of people. You are like everybody else. Toi, everybody saw. Gospel did all right, but it didn't hit like Toi hit, especially on like the bootleg circuit. Everybody had Toi. So then I was just the Toi guy. I was like, at first I wanted to be the Toi guy. Then I was like, I don't want to be the Toi guy. Then I made Stomp the Yard. That was my next big movie, right? And Stomp the Yard came out and definitely got a lot of attention, especially in Hollywood in certain circles. And then I was clearly the Stomp the Yard guy. Like, that's what I was. I wrote that. When I knew I had like made it and I was lightweight famous, was when I was no longer identified by one particular movie. And I was Will Packer, who makes the movies, the movie producer, right? I could just say Will Packer, and I had a few movies to claim, Before that, I was either just, the guy that made this one thing or this one thing. That's when I knew I was a somebody, when I could not be associated with just one movie and still be relevant in some conversation.
And now you getting all the checks. I'm like, Will, save a check for somebody else. Right?
We all over the place now. Yeah, we do it all now.
Yeah, your movies total, I think, have grossed $1 billion, and so that's an amazing accomplishment.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's still crazy when I think about it and say it, and I have to remind family members that don't mean I got the billion. Just to be clear, but my projects have grossed that. But still, that's crazy, and especially now with the environment being so different, like, having a #1 movie at the box office, that will mean something very different, from here to the rest forever, honestly, right? It meant something different back when, I got 10 #1 movies, right? Going forward, a #1 movie at the box office, once the theaters do open back up, which I think they will, I think it's only going to be like the biggest tentpole movies, like only the Marvel movies, the Fast and Furious and Jurassic Parks. And so the movies that I make, which a lot of people watch, a lot of people enjoy, we'll see. I think I'll still have a spot in the theatrical environment, but I just think it's going to look different. And it's going to skew towards just the mega huge blockbuster 4-quadrant movies. Nothing wrong with that. I may make one of those too, but anyway, yeah, I look back at the time when I was making movies and the success I had, and I don't know it will be quantified like that going forward.
How much does that worry you?
As a producer, because I think about it as a producer and as a consumer. So as a consumer, I like the fact that I can watch what I want to watch when I can watch it. I don't mind as a consumer. I can come into my screening room and watch, Wonder Woman, or watch, whatever the new HBO Max offering is that's available at home now. Like, I don't mind that as a consumer, right? As a producer, it means that I got to be malleable. It means I got to be quick and I got to be able to adjust my game. I can't just be the guy that's making content for one format. You know what I'm saying? I can't be making content for one, medium. I can't. I got to make it where my consumers are. I got to be able to adjust. I tell my team that all the time. We got to be fast and nimble. We got to be able to adjust. So it may mean I got to make streaming movies. It may mean I got to make movies that are, theatrical. I may have to make a hybrid of both. You know what I mean? So I got to be able, as a content producer, to create the content where the people are. I can't just sit back and say the people going to come to me. I got to come to the people.
As we're taping this podcast, Denzel's movie, The Little Things, just came out, and I watched it the other night. And it blew my mind because I saw a headline that said, normally, this would be a good thing. The Little Things, #1 in the box office, right? The number, it was 4.8 million. And I was like, oh my God, that's where things are right now.
That's where things are. You wouldn't even see the $4.8 million grosser on the charts, pre-COVID. You wouldn't even know what that movie was. And it better not have Denzel in it, damn it. Like that would have been, somebody's getting fired. Everybody's getting fired. But the theaters aren't open and people aren't going out. But here's what I will say. I do think that once it's socially and medically acceptable for us to go back outside, I think that theaters will be back and be robust. I just don't know that it will be the same wide breadth of movies that it used to be, which is unfortunate. You know what I mean? Because I like to see smaller movies or movies that are made in a particular genre get that big screen treatment. I think some will, but not as many. That's my thought.
Now, granted, you are based in Atlanta, and having gone to Atlanta last summer, I had to do some stuff with TNT. It's like the pandemic didn't happen in Atlanta. Am I missing something in Georgia?
Atlanta,
it skipped y'all.
Atlanta is turning up like it's 2019, and they have been doing that since 2019. Listen. Here's the thing. I'd be real with you. I'm not going to get political, but there are certain elements about living in a red state. And by that, I mean by a governor that is a Republican. It just is what it is. Georgia, Florida, Texas, they wild. I'm just going to tell you. And by they, I guess I have to say me because I live in Atlanta, but I'm not going out there with these people because my mom lives in Florida. I've had to go check on her. Everybody in Florida wears the mask below the nose. Everybody. I'm just gonna tell you, that's just how they rock it. I was in a Subway and the people making the sandwich had the mask, and I was like, how do I respectfully ask this sister to maybe pull it up a little bit? And she looked like she didn't really want my opinion on her mask etiquette. So I just got my sandwich and didn't eat it. That's what I did. I didn't want no problems. Florida people, Georgia people, wide open. I don't know what Atlanta's doing. The clubs, you can't even get in a club in Atlanta. It's popping. I'm like, what? Like, even if you're not worried about you, what about grandma? You know what I'm saying? Like, you going home to Mud Deer, like, what we thinking? So, yeah, ATL is special. My people.
Yeah, when I saw the pool parties, the indoor pool parties, I was like, wait a minute.
Bruh.
I wasn't ready.
Like, it make you check the date. Like, is this a throwback post? Like, I see stuff online like, oh, that can't be. Oh, that was in last year. No, this was Thursday. This is what's happening now. I'm going, okay, I'm going to let y'all have it. I just think everybody got to make their personal choice about their health. Unfortunately, it's affecting everybody else's health. You know what I mean? It's like peeing at the shallow end of the pool. I'm getting it like, come on, man. So I have no defense for that. None.
Well, I having talked to more actors during this time, and they talk about how the pandemic has completely changed how they shoot. Whereas before you could rehearse with people, but now that's not taking place as much. That the only time they're really without their mask or really having contact sometimes with multiple people is when you do actually do the scene.
Yep.
So from a producer standpoint, how has this pandemic impacted how you work?
Oh, every way. And it's interesting, Jemele, because at the beginning of the pandemic, like all I heard from people within the film community was especially like what we call below the line personnel, the people that actually, the grips and electrics and PAs, and not the actors, not the directors, right? Like the people that are actually out there making the movie happen or the TV show. All I heard was we are dying. Like, we got to get back to work. It wasn't like anybody planned for this, of course, right? So, you know, a grip working in Atlanta had his next 3 shows lined up. He didn't have like some nest egg because the industry was going to shut down. So our industry shut down like every other industry. And all I heard was, we got to get back to work. And so then it was like, well, how? So I had a very personal drive to figure out how to put my people back to work, like people that have been working with me on crews and people that, you know, I had several shows that were supposed to happen that got pushed back. I was like, I got to get people back going. Then it was a question about how, because it doesn't matter if they're working, if they're not safe. Like, that's the priority. That's paramount. Like, it's not about just getting them to work. They got to get back to work, and they got to get back to work safe, because if they're not going home to their families because they get sick, then what are we doing? So from my standpoint, it's very different. I have been back up and shooting. We actually have shot multiple projects during the pandemic, but we are very careful. Number one, I have to expend a lot more resources, right? So that's money. It's expensive to shoot during the pandemic, because you have to have all the safety protocols in place. You have to have extra equipment and extra resources going towards the safety of your crew and of your actors and everybody around them. I've done some shoots that were in a bubble, right? Like a complete bubble. Nobody leaves, everybody in there quarantined and stays until the shoot is finished. And then I've done others where, you know, it's a de facto bubble where everybody is staying at the same place, but they can go back to the place they're staying. Other people, like, we didn't require the people working at the hotel to necessarily quarantine. And we ask everybody to be very, very careful, but we're not keeping them confined. And then I've had some other shoots where we're doing everything that we can on the set, and then allowing people to take personal responsibility when they leave the set. And then we're just doing very frequent testing. That is really the key. Like, you know, I've got projects that test, you know, I'm shooting something right now in Houston, and every other day we test everybody every other day. And we try to, you know, do the best that we can. And so far, thank God, I haven't had, you know, any major incidences. We had some scares. We've had to make some adjustments, but we've been able to shoot. And that's huge for us.